Thank you for your interest in the KES AP Toolkit Suite App solution for NetSuite. The AP Toolkit brings significant efficiencies, helps eliminate errors, and provides improved visibility for your AP team and processes. After this demo, if you'd like more info or a personalized demo, please reach out to us and we can set that up. The AP Toolkit is a Suite app, which means it's a bundle installed directly inside of NetSuite. It's also BFN certified, which means that it gets revalidated with each NetSuite release, so you can be sure that it will work release after release. The AP Toolkit has a set of options. We go through this as part of setup and requirements with you to get a lot of it answered together. It has lots of control, including full history of changes. Our first feature is segment replication. This was originally done for segments, but it now works for custom segments or any custom field. It allows you to set fields up at the header, and once those are set, once you add lines, it automatically copies those segments or field values down to the lines, so you don't have to rekey. If you realize you made a mistake, update the segment at the header, click on the respective roll-down button, in this case roll-down department, and it will update on all of the lines. The external approval feature allows people to do approvals via email, so they don't have to log into NetSuite to approve transactions. In fact, they don't even need to have a NetSuite license. This does use the standard features of NetSuite, so I'll attach a file to this bill as an example. This also uses NetSuite workflow to drive the approval process, so you can have any approval flow you want, multiple levels, based on dollars, based on supervisor, or anything like that. In this case, I'll have the next approver set to Glenn, and I'll save the bill. The script to send the email runs every 15 minutes, or you can select Send Approval Email to send it immediately. If I refresh, the external approval status now shows that the email has been sent. Within this email, I can view the file that came along with the bill, a PDF of the actual coding of the transaction. You also have the option to display it as inline HTML, which I've done here. And I can either approve or reject it from here. In this case, I'll approve. I'll refresh once again, and I now see that this bill has been approved. In the approval history, I can see the full history of when this bill was approved and by who. Related to approvals is the approval delegation feature. If someone is going to be out of the office for a few weeks, a delegate can be assigned to handle their approvals. I just reactivated this one. Between these two dates, when a new bill is entered, the next approver can still be set as Glenn. It will go to Anthony as the delegate. In the approval history, Anthony will also show as the delegate who approved. The next feature is intercompany allocation. This is where one entity is paying bills on the behalf of one or more other entities. A company may do all of their disbursements out of a single subsidiary and then push the expenses to all of their other subsidiaries. Instead of having to do manual intercompany JEs, our interco allocation allows you to do it automatically. We'll pay this bill out of the KES Holdings subsidiary. We'll keep $100 in KES Holdings and push the rest over to two other different subsidiaries. This is a $900 bill paid to the vendor, $800 of which is being pushed to two different subs. The GL impact shows the full amount being paid, the $100 kept in the holding sub, and the other two amounts posted to an interco clearing account. After our interco allocation script runs, it creates intercompany journals, either one per line or one per transaction, and these are marked on the lines. In this interco JE, we clear the intercompany clearing account, create an interco due from. Then the expense account from the bill is established in the allocated subsidiary, along with a due to the paying subsidiary. And all of these intercompany accounts are based on the AP Toolkit configuration. The next feature is Easy Allocate. This allows you to set up predefined allocations that you use commonly on your bills, so you can easily select an allocation on entry instead of manually entering each line. You can set percentages across segments, accounts, or even subsidiaries. Here's an example of an allocation across 4 different departments. When I enter a bill, I can select that allocation, what account I want to put this into, and how much the bill is to allocate. After I selected Add, a line is then added to the bill for each line of the allocation. That amount has been split percentage-wise across the different departments. And you can do this across subsidiaries with our interco allocation. The next feature is Payment Hold Toggle. Standard NetSuite requires editing each bill to put it on payment hold or take it off. This new Suitelet allows you to do it in line with multiple bills at once. There are search options up here to filter the list of bills, and you can simply check or uncheck each box, or mark all, unmark all. This will put them on or off payment hold. For example, let me put these two bills on hold, and submit. They're marked as being on payment hold on this screen, and if I view one of these bills, I can see that yes, it truly is on payment hold. And this of course works the other way. Unchecking these bills and submitting will take them off of payment hold. Our next feature is Bill Payment Notification. This allows you, when making bill payments, to automatically send payment notifications to your vendors. NetSuite does this for electronic payments, but not for standard payments. I have a bill here that I'll make a payment on. On the bill payment, I'll check Send Payment Notification. This could also be set automatically with a workflow, which we typically do. The email will come automatically from the vendor, or it can be overridden here. After saving, our script kicks in and we send out that notification. Here's the email that was sent, which of course can be customized. Our next feature is Pay When Paid. This is typically for organizations that have contractors doing client work. It links a vendor bill to a customer invoice and places a hold on the vendor bill until that customer invoice is paid. When creating a new bill, simply check the Pay When Paid checkbox and select the linked customer invoice. After I save, the bill is automatically put on hold. I'll now go to pay this invoice. When I refresh the bill, it's now no longer on payment hold. The next feature is Apply Subsidiary to Vendors. This is great for companies with lots of acquisitions and expansion. On this page, you can select any number of vendors and any number of subsidiaries, potentially using the filters above. I'll pick this demo vendor we've been using, but you can pick any number of vendors. And I'll add both of these subsidiaries. I'll hit Submit. Before, this vendor only had 3 subsidiaries. When I refresh after I ran that process, and go to the subsidiary list, both of these subsidiaries have been added. The next feature is Vendor Requests. This feature ensures that vendor requests are reviewed and approved before they become vendors available for transactions. Requests can be done inside of NetSuite or through a web form without needing NetSuite access. On this vendor request page in NetSuite, all of the information for a vendor can be filled out. Any fields, both standard or custom, can appear on this page, and any of them can be made required. Once a request is submitted, whoever approves them can review and approve. A new vendor is then created from the fields on the request, which is linked here. And this is that vendor. The next feature is Vendor Sync. This allows you to easily auto-update fields on any type of open vendor transaction, based on changes to the vendor. Within the Setup screen, you can list any fields that you want to be synced. In this case, we have the vendor address, and it syncs with the vendor bill address. From the Vendor Sync screen, I can filter down to my demo vendor and run the sync on as many bills as I want. I can see the current billing address here. I'll check a few of these bills and submit. I can see that those bills have now updated to the new address on the vendor record. Our next feature is the Vendor Portal. This allows you to give your vendors access so they can view their POs and bills along with some other functionality. There are lots of config options for this portal that we can walk through with you. After logging in, a vendor has a home screen with an overall summary, a transaction page where they can view transaction types that you've allowed them to view, a file page where they can upload documents such as W-9s and enter or update their tax ID, a bank details page where they can enter or update their bank info, and a settings page where they can update their email, phone, or address. You can also disable the ability for vendors to be able to update tax, bank, or profile information. Overall, this is a great way for vendors to self-service. We'd be happy to show you this more in detail, and we look forward to having you as an AP Toolkit customer.